In the heart of Renaissance Florence, where art and commerce intertwined, the influence of patronage was profound. It was here, in a former grain house turned shrine at Orsan Michele, that the Bankers Guild commissioned Lorenzo Ghiberti to craft a massive bronze statue of St. Matthew. This artistic endeavor was also a statement of magnificence and power. Patronage in the Renaissance was more than just financial support. It was a complex interplay of art, status, and influence. As patrons dictated the cost, materials, size, location, and subject matter, they became the primary force behind a work's creation. An artwork was not merely a reflection of an artist's skill. It was a mirror of the patron's status and savvy. To quote Giovanni Rucellai, a wealthy Florentine banker, "Men have two roles to perform in life: to procreate and to build." This ethos underscored the patriarchal nature of Renaissance society, where artistic patronage was predominantly a masculine pursuit. While both men and women commissioned art, the public nature of the art market often placed women in a less advantageous position for patronage. To fully grasp the significance of patronage, though, we must consider its broader context: economics, politics, social and cultural formations, and psychology. The evidence lies in contracts, letters, diary entries, and the art itself. In Renaissance art, the patron's presence was often as palpable as the artist's hand. Renaissance patronage was characterized into two realms: public and private. Public art, displays in churches, town squares, and public buildings, was intended for broad audiences. In contrast, private art was often confined to the domestic sphere, yet some private homes, like those belonging to wealthy merchants or rulers, functioned as semi-private spaces, where art served both private enjoyment and public assertion of status. In the heart of the Renaissance, a transformation, not just in art and science, but in the very spaces people inhabited, began to unfold. The Renaissance, a period of fervent intellectual and cultural revival, saw architects and urban planners drawing inspiration from the classical past to shape their future. Consider Palma Nova, Italy, a city that emerged in the 16th century. Designed by the Venetian Republic, this city was not just a settlement, but a symbol. Its streets and buildings were laid out in a symmetrical, 9-point star pattern, embodying the Renaissance utopian ideals. Every line and angle was a testament to a philosophy that saw the physical environment and human life as deeply intertwined. Throughout the Renaissance, cities and structures were envisioned as reflections of a greater cosmic order. The era's architects, influenced by the humanist thinking of the time, blended aesthetics with functionality, creating spaces that were both beautiful and practical. This was a time when the very concept of urban planning was being redefined, and cities became canvases for bold new ideas. And while these new ideas were taking shape in the architectural and urban planning spheres, a new era in literature began to unfold as well. This era was marked by a rebirth of classical ideas and the emergence of a rich tapestry of poetic expression. It was a time when literature not only mirrored the transformative spirit of the age, but also helped to define it. In England, this period, known as the English Renaissance, began in the late 15th century, reaching its zenith under the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. It was a time of political and religious tumult, a crucible from which emerged some of the most enduring literary works. William Shakespeare, with his masterful sonnets and plays, boldly claimed that as long as men can breathe or eyes can see, his poetry would live. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growst. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. The Renaissance was not just a time of artistic rebirth, but also a period of great social and intellectual upheaval. London, rapidly becoming a bustling metropolis, was at the heart of this literary renaissance. Amidst the flourishing markets and crowded theaters, a new sense of English identity was being forged, one that resonated far beyond the shores of the island nation. The period saw an amalgamation of various cultural influences: Middle English poetry, classical translations, and contemporary continental literature. It was a time when the English language rose to new heights of prestige, and a distinctly English literature began to emerge, braiding together diverse cultural strands.